Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Marriagepreneurs Podcast, where we are helping wives today and couples build on legacy, love, and wealth with intention and grace. I am your host, LaKisa Taylor-Allston, and today we're diving into the heart of the second book, The Marriagepreneurs Playbook for Wives, a guide for women navigating entrepreneurial marriages who want to find balance, thrive, and truly bloom. This episode is for the wives who are building businesses, building homes, building dreams, and building themselves all at the same time. So let's talk about becoming, about that building, how to find balance, and how to bloom. So if you go to my website, the www.themarriagepreneurs.com, you will see on the book page that I actually had two books. The first one, the Discovery Pack, was one that I wrote to kind of the single me, the person looking for love. I kind of took a step back and said, what was I doing? What was I thinking? What was I feeling? Because I want my single sisters to be very intentional when they are picking their mate or looking for their mate who hopefully will choose them as well. But I also had to take a step back. I've been married going on 9 years. I'm in an entrepreneurial marriage with my husband. One of the things that started the Marriagepreneurs was, how do you guys do this? How do you work together in answering those questions? So I also came back with a second follow-up book and they're both being released at the same time, called The Playbook for Wives. And this one is written intentionally for the wives who are already in entrepreneurial marriages, or your husband just came home and said, hey, I want to start a trucking business, or I want to do photography on the side, and you're trying to figure out how this works in your life, or I want to buy a franchise. If you can check any of those boxes, or maybe you both now are becoming entrepreneurs. I'm in the Washington, D.C. area. A lot of people have been furloughed and lost their jobs. Some people went back to work. Some people didn't. And now you may be reevaluating your talents and your gifts to see what else can I do. So entrepreneurship, I'm always behind 1,000%. So again, this is for my wives who can check some of those boxes and are in this situation. The first thing I want to specifically talk about is becoming a wife in purpose. A wife in purpose is not defined by titles or tasks or timelines. She understands that her identity is rooted in God, not productivity. Trust and believe in any marriage, in any home, and raising children. To me, God at the center is how you get through life. So I just want to say, being in your faith, being deeply in the Word of God helps you. It helps to shape you, motivate you, and sustain you through these different types of relationships. And if you're that woman or becoming that woman, you should know and understand that marriage is part of your assignment. It's a part of your ministry, and we don't want you to get distracted from it. You recognize your gifts, your voice, your creativity, and your calling on the matter inside and out of the home. In the chapter Wife in Purpose, I talk about how purpose is not something that you chase. It's something that you actually embody. It's the way you show up, how you love, how you serve, and how you build. Becoming is about evolving spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and relationally. It's about becoming the one woman that God actually designed you to be, not the woman that society pressures you to be. And in entrepreneurial marriages, again, this becomes essential, because when you grow, everything connected grows through you, flourishes through you, through your mindset, your peace, your balance. Now let's talk about building, specifically building with grace over the grind. Entrepreneurial marriages come with a unique type of rhythm. There are seasons of hustle, stretching, sometimes seasons of uncertainty, and then there's seasons of overflow. But the key is to learning how to build without burning out. I'm going to follow up this with a Bible study one day about how to, we can get it straight from the Word of God, how to find this balance from the entrepreneurial mindset within your marriage. Grace over grind means you don't have to do everything at once, or you don't have to be everything to everyone. You don't have to sacrifice your peace to prove your worth. You don't have to grind your way all the way to exhaustion or burnout to feel accomplished. It's not about being lazy. Grace is alignment, it's wisdom, and it's knowing when to push and when to pause. In the Playbook, I share how grace became my superpower, how it allowed me to build businesses actually, my marriage, and a life without losing myself. The grace over grind piece is a reminder that you're not building alone. God is actually the blueprint, and again, in the Word, He's giving you the blueprint. God is in the timing, and God is definitely and certainly in the details. I also want you to move into a balanced mindset. One of the most requested and most misunderstood topics for entrepreneurial wives is about balance. Balance is not about doing everything equally. Balance is about doing what matters most in the moment. You give yourself permission to shift when you need to shift, to honor your capacity for what you can do or handle at this time. Oftentimes I say, I'm not sure if I have the bandwidth for this in this moment. I take my time. I may take a time for myself, just a couple of minutes, to reset in my mind. It's releasing yourself of guilt from maybe feeling like you had to say no in this moment, but you want to be free to choose if I have to say no in this moment. You understand that the balance is seasonal. It's not static. In the Playbook, I talk about how balance is a mindset before it's a schedule. Because if your mind is overwhelmed, your life will be too. Having this balanced mindset will help you to navigate busy seasons without resentment, support your spouse without losing your identity of self, build your businesses without neglecting your marriage. You can care for your home without abandoning your dreams. It's not about getting things perfect. It's about being intentional. It's about knowing again what you deserve, yes, and what it requires for you right now. Setting yourself up to flourish and flow is the goal. I'm being honest about it here. We want to bloom. I want you to bloom. It's part of the journey. It's part of the process. It's one of the purpose points of everything that you're doing. Everything that you've planted, it begins to show that blooming is not accidental. You've been moving intentional, so blooming is actually on purpose, because it's the result of your preparation, your pruning, your patience, and everything that you have dreamed of. I talk about flourish and flow in one of the chapters in my book because it requires some things for you to bloom. One thing requires is that you have to be in a great environment. You cannot bloom in soil that suffocates you. Your environment, your habits, your relationships, your routines must actually support your growth. And that means sometimes you have to look at yourself and take inventory on the things in your life, in your space, people even, work projects even, and saying, is this supporting my growth, my plan, my spouse, my family, my goals, my dreams? You also have to have boundaries. When you want to bloom, it requires you protecting yourself. You cannot flourish if everything and everyone has access to your energy. It's also, again, I said this already, self-awareness. Self-awareness is knowing what nourishes you and what drains you. Knowing specifically your strengths, your needs, your triggers, and the limits. This is something that if you don't know, you have to get to know yourself really well and be honest with yourself. And sometimes if people are giving you feedback or criticism on your personality type or how you are, just consider those things when you are doing your evaluation of self. Consider how others may see you, not so that you can change unless you need to change, unless that change feels good to you, but to do it for yourself so you can learn how you are being perceived and what adjustments and changes that you may need to make again for you to flourish. And then we want to flow. Flow is when your life, your marriage, your business moves in harmony. It's not about, again, perfection. It's about peace. Flow is happening when you stop forcing it, when you and your husband or your spouse are aligned, when you are trusting God's timing, when you're not trying to force things for yourself, and when you honor wherever you are in the season that you're in. So blooming is not about being busy, it's about being fruitful. And that's something that I want you to make sure that you are taking the time and not putting additional pressure on yourself. A lot of times with social media, even not just with young people, even with us adults sometimes, it can add another layer of pressure of asking, am I doing enough? Do I measure up to this? Especially when you're an entrepreneur. Someone else may have taken my idea. Ideas are created every single day, and there's really enough room for all of us to flourish and flow. Just be intentional with who you are and continue to know who you are, and you will be fruitful in the season that you're supposed to be in. This Marriagepreneurs Playbook for wives was written for you, for the woman who is building a business, building marriage, working on a legacy, and building up herself. You are becoming, building, and balancing. I want you to bloom. I hope that you are blooming. And you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to live with intention, grace, and of course, with the Lord. I thank you all again for joining me. If you haven't already, you can pre-order your Playbook for Wives or your Discovery Pack with the companion workbook section as well, included in both books. They will help you to go deeper on this journey of purpose, partnership, and personal growth. Until next time, keep becoming, keep building, balancing, and blooming.